She walked in quietly, holding her daughter's small hand. Her clothes were worn, her eyes tired, but her heart was full of courage. Every step she took into that restaurant felt heavier than the last. Not because she was weak, but because pride is heavy when you're struggling and still trying to stand tall. She didn't ask for luxury. She didn't ask for sympathy. She just wanted food for her daughter. Her voice trembled as she explained her situation. She said she would pay later. She said she just needed help today. She said her daughter hadn't eaten since morning. The manager didn't listen with his heart. He listened with judgment. Instead of kindness, he laughed. Instead of respect, he mocked her. Instead of humanity, he chose pride. People in the restaurant stared. Some looked away. Some whispered. And that mother? She lowered her head, not because she was ashamed of who she was, but because the world had forgotten who it was supposed to be. But listen carefully. This is where the lesson begins. That mother didn't break. She didn't scream. She didn't curse. She held her daughter closer and walked out with dignity. What the manager didn't understand is this. Poverty is not a lack of character. Struggle is not a crime. Asking for help is not weakness. It's courage in its rawest form. Life has a strange way of keeping score. People who mock others in their lowest moments often don't realize that life is watching. Every laugh at someone's pain, every moment of arrogance, every act of cruelty, it all comes back. And people like that mother, they carry something powerful, resilience, faith, and a reason bigger than themselves. She wasn't fighting for herself. She was fighting for her daughter. And when you fight for something bigger than you, quitting is not an option. So if you're listening to this and you've ever been judged, mocked, or made to feel small because you were struggling, remember this. Your situation is temporary, but your character is permanent. The world may laugh today, but tomorrow it will ask how you survived. Struggle does not define your worth, even though the world often tries to convince you that it does. Society has a cruel habit of measuring people by what they have instead of who they are. If your clothes are worn, if your wallet is empty, if your voice shakes when you ask for help, people are quick to assume that you are less intelligent, less hardworking, less important. But struggle has never been a measure of value. It is a season, not an identity. It is a chapter, not the whole story. Think about how many strong people you know who were once invisible to the world. They weren't weak when they were struggling. They were being tested. Pressure doesn't create weakness. It reveals strength. Diamonds don't form in comfort. They form under weight, time, and heat. In the same way, people who are struggling are not broken. They are being shaped. Every late night, every rejection, every moment of humiliation is quietly building something inside them that money and comfort could never buy. When someone is struggling, especially a parent fighting for their child, the effort itself is proof of worth. Waking up every day with nothing guaranteed and still choosing to try takes courage. Walking into a place knowing you might be judged, laughed at, or turned away, and still asking because someone depends on you, that is strength in its purest form. Weak people don't try. Weak people quit. Weak people choose pride over responsibility. Strong people swallow their pride and do what must be done. The world often confuses success with value, but success is loud and temporary, while value is quiet and permanent. Money can disappear. Status can vanish. Titles can be taken away. But character, resilience, and heart stay with you forever and ever. A person who struggles and still treats others with dignity, still loves deeply, still refuses to become bitter. That person is rich in ways that cannot be stolen. Judgment from others can be one of the hardest parts of struggle. It's not just the lack of resources, it's the looks, the whispers, the laughter. It's being made to feel like your situation is your fault, like you deserve the pain you're in. But struggle is not always the result of poor choices. Sometimes it's the result of bad luck, unexpected loss, illness, responsibility, or circumstances beyond control. And even when mistakes were made, growth should never be denied to anyone willing to change. Your worth is not reduced because you need help. In fact, recognizing when you need help shows self-awareness and responsibility. No one succeeds alone. Every successful person you admire was helped by someone at some point. Mentors, teachers, family, friends, or even strangers. Asking for help doesn't make you small. It makes you human. Refusing to ask and letting those who depend on you suffer, that's what truly weak looks like. Struggle also has a way of refining perspective. People who've gone without understand gratitude differently. They appreciate small victories. They value kindness. They don't waste empathy. When they finally rise, they remember what it felt like to be unseen, and that memory often turns them into leaders who lift others instead of stepping on them. The pain they endured becomes the wisdom they pass on. Never let someone else's comfort convince you that your struggle is a failure. Some people have never been tested, and their opinions come from ignorance, not wisdom. They speak from privilege, not experience. You don't need validation from people who have never walked your road. Your survival, your persistence, your refusal to give up, those are validations enough. Every day you keep going despite the weight on your shoulders, you are proving something powerful. You are proving that worth is not given by a manager, a stranger, or a system. It is carried within you, and no amount of mockery, rejection, or hardship can take that away. How you treat the weak reveals who you really are, not when the cameras are on, not when people are watching, but in the quiet moments where no reward is promised. Anyone can be kind to someone powerful. Anyone can smile at a person who can benefit them. But it takes real character to show respect to someone who has nothing to offer you except their humanity. That is where true identity is exposed. Power has a way of removing masks. When someone believes they are above another person, by position, money, or authority, their true nature often comes out. Some use that power to protect, uplift, and serve. Others use it to belittle, control, and humiliate. The difference between those two responses is the difference between strength and insecurity. Cruelty is rarely a sign of confidence. It is usually the loudest expression of inner weakness. Mocking someone who is struggling doesn't make a person superior. It only reveals a lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to imagine yourself in another person's place, to understand that life is unpredictable and that anyone can fall. One bad decision, one illness, one loss, one economic shift can change everything. The people who understand this move differently. They speak gently. They judge less. They help when they can because they know tomorrow could place them on the other side of the table. How someone treats the weak also reveals their understanding of responsibility. Authority, whether small or large, is not a license to dominate. It is a duty to serve. A manager, a leader, a teacher, or anyone with influence has a choice every day. Use their position to make life harder or use it to make life better. The title itself means nothing if it is not backed by compassion. Respect is not demanded. It is earned through behavior. There is something deeply telling about a person who laughs at pain. It shows a disconnect from reality and a lack of emotional maturity. Life has a way of humbling everyone eventually. The same person who mocks today may need help tomorrow. When that day comes, character will matter more than credentials. The world does not forget how people made others feel, especially in moments of vulnerability. Kindness toward the weak is not about charity alone. It is about recognizing shared humanity. Every person has value simply because they exist. Not because they earn a certain amount, not because they wear a certain uniform, not because they hold a certain status. When someone forgets this, they start ranking human worth, and that is where injustice begins. History has shown again and again that societies collapse not from lack of resources, but from lack of compassion. Treating the weak with dignity also strengthens the person who gives it. Compassion builds humility. It reminds you that you are not self-made, that you did not succeed alone, and that your current position is not permanent. People who help others stay grounded. People who mock others become blind to their own flaws. One grows wiser, the other grows arrogant. There is also a ripple effect in kindness that many people underestimate. One small act of respect can restore someone's hope. One moment of understanding can change how a struggling person sees the world and themselves. On the other hand, one moment of cruelty can deepen wounds that are already heavy. You never know how close someone is to giving up. That's why how you treat the weakest person in the room matters more than how you impress the strongest. In the end, legacy is not built on how many people feared you, but on how many people felt safe around you. Positions end. Titles fade. Authority expires. But the way you treated people when they were at their lowest follows you longer than any achievement ever will. Pain can become purpose when you refuse to let suffering be wasted. Most people think pain is something to escape, something to hide from, something that automatically means life is unfair to them specifically. But pain is not random. It is a signal. It is an invitation to grow, to learn, and to become something stronger than you were before. The difference between people who are broken by pain and people who are built by it is not the pain itself, but the meaning they give to it. When someone goes through hardship, especially repeated hardship, there is a moment where a choice is made. One path leads to bitterness, anger, and a belief that the world owes you something. The other path leads to purpose, resilience, and a quiet determination to turn wounds into wisdom. Pain does not automatically create purpose, but it creates the opportunity for it. Purpose is chosen, not assigned. Some of the most impactful people in the world were shaped by experiences they never asked for. Hunger teaches appreciation. Rejection teaches self-reliance. Humiliation teaches humility. Loss teaches empathy. These lessons are harsh, but they are powerful. People who have felt deep pain often develop a deeper understanding of others. They notice suffering that others ignore. They listen differently. They care more intentionally. What once hurt them becomes the very thing that allows them to help someone else survive. Pain also strips life down to what really matters. When everything is comfortable, people chase distractions, validation, and shallow goals. But when pain enters, illusions fall apart. You stop pretending. You stop wasting time on things that don't feed your soul. You become focused. You learn what you are willing to fight for. Many people discover their true purpose not in moments of success, but in moments of desperation, when quitting feels easier than continuing. There is strength in surviving what you thought would break you. Each time you endure something difficult, your capacity expands. What once felt unbearable slowly becomes manageable. This doesn't mean the pain disappears. It means you grow larger than it. And that growth carries responsibility. When you've been through pain, you are uniquely positioned to guide others through similar darkness. Your experience becomes a map. Your scars become evidence that survival is possible. Purpose born from pain is not about revenge or proving others wrong. It's not about becoming hard or cold. True purpose is rooted in transformation. It's about taking what hurt you and making sure it doesn't end with you. It's about choosing to respond differently, to act with compassion where you once faced cruelty, to offer understanding where you once received judgment. Pain also builds discipline when you refuse to let it define you. People who have struggled understand the cost of giving up. They know what it feels like to be at the bottom, so they don't take opportunities lightly. They work harder, stay focused longer, and appreciate progress more deeply. Purpose gives pain direction. Without purpose, pain just hurts. With purpose, pain pushes. Not every painful experience will make sense immediately. Some lessons only reveal themselves years later. What matters is not understanding everything right now, but continuing forward with intention. Even when answers are unclear, action matters. Showing up matters. Trying again matters. Purpose is often discovered in motion, not in waiting. When pain becomes purpose, it stops being a curse and starts becoming fuel. It sharpens awareness. It deepens character. It builds a future that comfort alone could never create. The struggle does not disappear, but it transforms into something meaningful, something that carries weight, something that moves you forward with clarity and quiet strength.